simply like examples, if you want to have examples, like anything you can take. For example, biodiversity within tiger species, variability, different tiger species. So that is at genetic level. And in a forest we can see different species of animals like tigers, deers, likewise. So that is species diversity. What is biodiversity? So generally, from the word perspective, biodiversity can be defined as diversity within living organisms. Diversity within living organisms. That means, in simple manner, how we can say is that the variety of organisms or the variety and variability present among the living organisms in a region, that refers to biodiversity of a particular region. For example, there can be one forest. In that forest, there can be different species of animals will be living. Like simply to say, there can be tigers, there can be deers, there can be elephants, there can be different birds, right? So such kind of variety of species of animals present in a region refers to biodiversity of that particular region. So it can be with respect to one ecosystem, or it can be with reference to one complete country, or it can be with reference to complete earth, right? So that is generally to say biodiversity. So in simple manner, it is nothing but the variety or variability of living organisms. So that is biodiversity. Okay. So if we are saying that there is diversity within living organisms, so a living organisms can be like a particular species can be there, and there can be different species in a region, or there can be different ecosystems in a region, right? Like we can have different levels of biodiversity. That means the diversity can be at genetic level. That means within a species, for example, let us say humans, human species. Within human species, there is lot of diversity. That means in terms of morphological character or physical characters, we can see like height varies, like weight varies, like color varies, all of these things. So such kind of things. Diversity within a species at genetic level, at genes level, that refers to genetic diversity. Okay, so this is one level of biodiversity. Like in tigers also, there are different kinds of tigers. In elephants also, there are African elephants, Asian elephants, likewise. So in cheetahs also, there are different species of cheetahs. That means species is same, but there is genetic level. At genetic level, there is variations. So that refers to genetic diversity. And then, like in a region, there can be diversity in between these species. That means different species may exist in a particular region. Okay, so next level of biodiversity is at species level, which we will call it as species diversity. Species diversity means tiger population, tigers, elephants, deers, or birds. So this is one species, one species. So more number of species of animals or organisms present in a region. So that can be known as species diversity. That means diversity in between species in a region. So that is species diversity. Then we can have other level of biodiversity at ecosystem level. In a particular region, there can be different ecosystems that may exist. There can be forest ecosystem, there can be grassland ecosystem, there can be like any aquatic ecosystem which can be present in a particular region. So let's say, for example, in India, if we are saying about the southern part of India, like Western Ghats, such kind of area, we can see different types of existence of ecosystems. Okay, so likewise, so we can have, and at the ecosystem level, like we can have such kind of diversity, right? So the diversity that exists between different ecosystems in a region, that refers to ecosystem diversity. So likewise, diversity can be at different levels. So these are known as the levels of biodiversity. Levels of biodiversity. Okay, this is very basic introduction about what is diversity, what is biodiversity, and what are the different levels of biodiversity. Due to as it has much significance in ecology, like variations in ecosystems can also be at one level of biodiversity. We can consider that as one level of biodiversity. Okay, so that is basically with reference to what is biodiversity and what are the various levels or types of biodiversity. Okay, so simply like examples, if you want to have examples, like anything you can take. For example, biodiversity within tiger species, variability, different tiger species. So that is at genetic level. And in a forest we can see different species of animals like tigers, deers, likewise. So that is species diversity. And within a region we can see, for example, in India we can see like forest ecosystem, mountain ecosystem, like grassland ecosystem, such kind of thing, mangrove ecosystem, lake ecosystem, ponds, lakes. So that refers to the ecosystem diversity. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, then like as this biodiversity is there, we can just measure the biodiversity. So how to measure the biodiversity? That means measurement of biodiversity. Okay, if you see in a particular region there can be different species of animals. Okay, so based on the number of species we can just measure the biodiversity. Okay, so for example, in a region, take this as a forest or take this as a forest, and in this let us say 4 tigers are there, 5 deers are there, and 6 elephants are there. Simply anything roughly. Okay, so let us say 4 tigers are there, 5 deers are there, and 6 elephants are there. Okay, so take in other area where let us say 8 elephants are there, or take anything more number like 9 elephants are there, 1 tiger is there, and 5 deers are there. 5 deers are there. Okay, so what we can see here, what is the difference between here and here? Means here you can see animals are there, and if you see the distribution of animals living in that, so total number of animals are in both is 15 animals are living. Okay, so 3 species are living. Here also 3 species, both are 3 species. Okay, so what's the difference between this and this is means here if you see in this more evenness of the species is there. Evenness in the sense more or less equally they are distributed. Simply to say 4 tigers, 5 deers, and 6 elephants. That means like variability of species means 3 species are there, evenness is more. Okay? And here the species evenness is very less because only 1 tiger is there and 9 elephants are there and 5 deers are there. So there is no evenness in the ecosystem. Okay, based on such kind of evenness of the animals or species present in a region, one way of measuring biodiversity is species evenness. Species evenness. Okay, so other measure how we can just measure the biodiversity is based on the number of species present in a particular region. Okay, for example, here we have 3 species, and assume that here we have still more, like let us tell yes rabbits, let's tell 10 rabbits are there, and tell any others like lions, like 5 lions are there and 6 monkeys are there. So here we can say more number of species is there. So such kind of existence of more number of species can also be a measure. So we can have other level of measurement is like species richness. species richness. That means in this ecosystem there is more richness of the species, but here if you see in this ecosystem there is more evenness of the species. Okay, so more evenness of the species. So that's how we can measure biodiversity in a particular region. And in order to measure these things, we need some indices, or we need some further extra methods to calculate the biodiversity. So from that point of view, there are some indices. There are some indices to measure biodiversity. So now let's discuss about indices to measure biodiversity. Okay, so if we are saying that organisms are there, these organisms can live within a community. For example, tigers may live in a community, and tigers may exist in different communities also, biotic communities. That means same species, let us say tigers. The tiger may live in one biotic community, and the same species of tigers can live in different communities or in different ecosystems, or like entire earth consists of different species of tigers, right? So based on that level, like indices can be of 3 types. Okay, so what are those indices means? One is alpha diversity, and second one is beta diversity, and the third one is gamma diversity. Okay, alpha, beta and gamma. Alpha, beta and gamma. So in simple manner to say, alpha is the first one. That means diversity of species existing within a particular community. Like in a community like tigers would be there, and diversity of the tigers in a particular community, that refers to alpha diversity. And diversity of the species in between different communities, different biotic communities or different ecosystems, that refers to beta diversity. And entire variability of all the ecosystems on the entire earth, that refers to gamma diversity. Okay, at the level. Here first we said like genetic level, species level, and then ecosystem level. Synonymous, likewise only synonymous, but it is with reference to region specific. That is species specific. This is region specific. Okay, so mention indices. Definitions like what is biodiversity. So hope the definition is clear to all. Okay, always this fly tries to. It's an invisible force which controls the board. It's very much fond of the board, it seems. Okay, so we saw the types of diversity, like there are the levels of diversity, that is genetic diversity, species diversity, and ecosystem diversity. These are 3 levels. Okay, so genetic level, can you see genetic level? So likewise, so this is what different types. So we saw that, and then measurement of biodiversity, where we saw like species richness and species evenness. Species richness and species evenness. And then species richness and evenness. If you see here, like there are 3 species, let us say fill any animals, and this is one species, this is one species, this is one species. And if you compare this to this, here if you see 2 are there, here 2 to 1, something there is less evenness, and here is more evenness. Okay, when you see richness wise, number of species or number of organisms in a particular thing. So if you see here, like here we have only 5, but here we have like more of like 5, 8 animals. So likewise richness is more. So it is, if we are talking with reference to animals, then that is animals biodiversity, and if we are talking with respect to species, then that would be different. Species richness means more number of species should be there. Okay, different species should be there, likewise. So that is different measures. So species richness, we can compare one community with other community, and we can see how species are rich. That means based on the number. Okay, then we can say species evenness, we have done that one, and we are with the alpha and beta gamma diversity. Okay, they are different indices.